Welcome to Living with Purpose. And I have a very special guest today. Manu is we call her lovingly MP, is the executive director of the Microsoft Alumni Network. She is a former executive at Microsoft, has started her own company. But I think the most important thing that Manu does is extreme skiing. She loves to jump out of helicopters and ski, which I just find fascinating. But more importantly, she also spends time empowering women by getting them up onto the slope. So, in some ways, it's this taking her passion, her strengths, and then bringing it and sharing it globally to people that can actually benefit with that. So, with that, please welcome Manu to the podcast, Living with Purpose.
Thank you, Akhtar. So good to talk to you. I'm very humbled by this opportunity to speak with you. I have huge respect for what you have done for not just the Seattle community, but for the entire community of folks, wherever they are in the world. Your generosity and wisdom has touched many people, and I'm grateful to be here with you.
Thank you very much. So let's start by just sharing your story. This little girl growing up in the mountains in Romania.
Yes. Yeah. I grew up in a city called Brașov, and I know you've been to Romania and you loved it. Yes. I grew up in a mountain town, and I grew up skiing and watching Formula One with my dad and being very active as a kid. But I also grew up inspired by my grandfather, who was ambassador, and my mother, who worked in a very male-dominated urban planning industry. So I'm very, very excited to see how the work that they have done throughout their lives has built me to be who I am today.
So talk a little bit about that. By the way, it's great that your mother is an urban planner. I am an architect and urban designer. But talk a little bit about your journey, right? Yeah. So from the ski slopes of Romania to Microsoft.
Yeah, I studied in Romania, in Bucharest. I studied management marketing at James Madison University, had a branch there. And I also started an internship for BMW. Again, the passion for cars took me outside my personal life from racing into working for car makers. So I worked for BMW and Mercedes-Benz after that. And in 2002, I moved to Seattle, where I currently reside. And there was an opportunity while I was at University of Washington. We have another thing in common, you and I. I studied public relations, and one of my professors told me that Microsoft is hiring in the automotive business unit. So 2004 was such an incredible year for me because I got the opportunity to do an interview with Microsoft to be the marketing manager for the newly formed automotive business unit. So needless to say, I could speak cars in and out and new marketing and consumer brands. So I got the job. And my world has changed since that day when my boss at the time, Val Cold, hired me to be the marketing manager for the automotive business unit. I love to see the progress, the innovation that Microsoft has done in the automotive space. We pioneered media and infotainment in the cars with Fiat, Blue and Me. We put the first USB in the car in 2004. And the first voice activation was also done with Fiat and later perfected with Ford. And Microsoft built a second consumer brand besides Xbox, Ford Sync powered by Microsoft, where you could bring your phone in the car and your media player and talk to it like you would with your friends. So I loved to see how Microsoft has developed outside the more traditional software components that it was known for. After several years in the automotive business unit, I decided that the passion is still there and saw the opportunity to move back to Germany and helped a smaller company expand their automotive reach. And I did that in 2011. I moved to Germany and helped a software company called Electrobit open up offices in Shanghai, in Romania. There's great software development there, as you know.
Yes.
and in Silicon Valley. So that kind of ties back to one of the things you love about Microsoft, which is the people. I love that too. You meet and you have friends for life while you work at the company because of the core values that we share, because of the work ethics that we share. So that's when I continued working with my then friend, Walter Sullivan. He opened up the Silicon Valley office for a little bit. And after 7 years in this space, I saw another opportunity of the software progressing in the car from the infotainment system to advanced driver systems and autonomy. The adventurous spirit that defines Microsofties was back in action. And that's when I started my software startup called Designated Driver, focused on remote operations of any kind of vehicle, from mining, agriculture to warehouse robots and robotaxis. Hired Walter as the CTO, and with offices in Portland, in Silicon Valley, and Seattle, bootstrap startup, we started developing this incredible technology in end of 2018. So for 5 years, we've commercially deployed with Ford. I remember the day when Bill Ford sat in the car getting a demo from us in Palo Alto and said, "Oh, Manuela, this is incredible. This is much better than anything I've seen developed out there." So we started working with Ford, deploying our teleoperation software in their people shuttles in Palo Alto, robotaxis, and then with Verizon became their teleoperation providers for warehouse robots and smart factories. And with Terra-based energy, solar farming, so sending ruggedized robots, remotely operate them where in places where you wouldn't want to send a human. 2022 came and it was very difficult to raise money. And it was really a hardest decision that I had to make in my life. A strong, successful bootstrap startup with 7 engineers, with commercial deployments with Ford, Verizon, and so on, generating over 1.5 million in revenue, still not able to raise money. It was a very heartbreaking moment when I decided to shut it down. It was very tough. It's one of these tough moments. And again, I wrote a blog about that decision, and I kind of associated with the decision to turn around when you're close to a summit because of weather conditions or because you're not feeling well or one of your teammates is not capable to continue to the summit. So really heartbreaking, but wise decision, right? Do you continue on the same path for another 2 years, or do you decide to take a break and turn around and come back to it later? The mountains will still be there. The idea of the teleoperations will still be there. The customers will continue to work with us if I ever decide to go back and build it, because the relationships that we've built over time are stronger than anything. But anyway, I'm here at the Alumni Network leading the organization. And I have to say, it feels really good to come back to this thriving community, to see so many entrepreneurs. We have over 30,000 alumni that have started small businesses, Akhtar. You know that.
Yeah.
There's alumni that have like over 40 of them that have built unicorn companies. And thousands of them are in the C-suite of Fortune 500, Cloud 100 companies. And as an alumni network, what I love a lot more than building businesses is the generosity of people. This year, we have concluded our giving campaign. And I'm so happy to report that throughout the years, we have given back to the community over 5 million. So
yeah, this is awesome. So clearly, there is a inner energy that drives you. So let's talk a little bit about purpose and why you believe purpose is important, and how is that showing up for you in whatever you do?
Well, purpose is very important because it's what keeps you going. You need to have a North Star. You need to have a dream big, but work towards achieving those dreams, right? I've mentioned that when I came to US, I came from working at Mercedes-Benz, but I moved to US and I had to go study again and work in a different country from the bottom and work my way up without having a purpose, without having a plan. All you have is just an unachievable dream. To me, that purpose is really important. It's really important the people that you surround yourself with. It's really important to have the courage and the guts to keep going and start. All you can do even I don't like to use the word fail. It's a word that is very negative, isn't it? If things don't work out, all you do is get up, brush yourself, and keep going. But surround yourself with people that push you, that you can push and inspire, and be the kind of leader and friend that is honest, that knows their strengths and weaknesses, and is humble. One of my favorite quotes in life has been Warren Miller's, who's a famous mountaineer, is next year you'll be 1 year older. So start today, right? If you don't do it today, the next year you'll be 1 year older. Mm-hmm. Think about that. It's just the toll that it takes on your body or, your mental, and things may happen in your life. So don't wait for the perfect moment, right? Growth happens when you take the first steps. When you stumble, fall, get up, keep going. When you turn around and you go back to the mountain, or when you start a company, you're successful, then it fails, and you keep going. See, I said the word fail. I don't like it.
But failure is part of life, right? I mean, you did not learn skiing without falling down.
Yeah.
I never walked without falling.
That's not failure, is it? That's just a hiccup.
No, but at that point in time, you actually believe that you have failed.
Yes. Yeah.
That you get up and move again.
Yeah.
So I think that's just such a fascinating way to describe, right? You kind of touched upon this when you were talking about your company and this decision that you had to make to shut it down. So talk a little bit about how purpose has driven you through both good times and difficult times.
So having a purpose taught me that I need to embrace all the challenges. When I started the company, I knew exactly what I wanted to build. I wanted to build a better technology that allows autonomous vehicles to move safer around, right? And again, no matter what kind of vehicle that is, a mining, agriculture, or robotaxi. So for that, we needed to build software. I also knew that in order to achieve this, I needed to have a very solid team, a team that I can rely on and they can rely on me. And I also knew that I needed to have exceptional partners and go to market customers that share the same core values. So we built around that. There's many times throughout my career and throughout the journey of designated driver that I said no to various customers because they didn't align with our roadmap. They didn't align to what we were building, and they were a distraction, even though they showed us the opportunity of making a lot of revenue. They were going to distract us from the journey, from the roadmap. So I think having a purpose really allows you to stay focused, and it allows you to continue on the path and not get distracted by shiny objects that are moving around you. And if you keep sharing that purpose with the team, if you share that vision with everyone around you, including your customers, they're going to get on board and they're going to understand and support you. Strategic planning was important as part of this journey, but also resilience. That's part of having a purpose. To me, being resilient was really important. No matter how many times you hear no from investors, you keep going, right? There's hundreds of calls that I've made and presentations done to secure funding, and I've heard no thousands of times. Having that strength and resilience to come back to your team and say, we're going to continue on this path. We have customer deployments we need to stay true to, right? It's really important. Same with mountaineering. You have a team, a rope team that you're taking to the summit. You need to inspire courage and you need to inspire others to keep moving. And if they cannot do it, right, you need to make hard decisions for the team. All of that has to do with having a purpose.
This is such a fascinating way to kind of think about, purpose and resiliency, purpose and strength, purpose and the fortitude to make decisions to either say yes or to say no. All of this allows you to think about how you're prioritizing your life.
Yeah.
And purpose is that center. It's that central piece that allows you to prioritize everything around you. So I think you kind of just talked about it in a very beautiful way. Let's end the conversation by you sharing your one golden nugget, a piece of wisdom that you would like to leave with our listeners.
Yeah. So I want to refer back to what I said about Warren Miller. I said, just if you don't do it now, next year you're going to be 1 year older. So don't wait for that perfect moment. That's my golden nugget. Just take the chance. Have a plan, but do it. Don't wait up. There's a community around you you can rely on. You can be that support for the community. We're very, very strong. Humans are strong and resilient. That's what I love about us. We can keep pushing forward so much. Even when we think we're down, we still have probably 40% battery in our body to keep going. We got to trust ourselves. So, and do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is such a lovely message, right? Take the first step.
Trust your instincts. I mean, Akhtar, with the Alumni Network, everything that we do, right, is based on data. At Microsoft, that's what we learn. Yeah. But it's also based on that. Yes. Right? When Scott Oakey went to Bill Gates decades ago with a business plan to expand the company outside Redmond, right? And he got the money. It wasn't just data, it was guts too. So I love that. Just this combo of, and for me personally, it's 60% data, 40% gut. I found that formula for myself. I just love it.
Yesterday I had Sanjay Parthasarthi, who's again a former Microsoft senior executive, and he was basically saying, look, there are two ways you're going to make decisions. One is a decision based on data. And that's going to be a numeric way in which you're going to actually think about revenue generation, company expansion.
Yeah.
And the second is you're going to make decisions based on strategy. And at times, both are important.
Yes.
And at times, the strategy decision may not have any data to support it. And you have to be able to have a vision of what that would look like 10 years from now. So, Manu, thank you so much for being part of this. Again, I love this quote. Every year, you're going to be 1 year older. Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Start now. Have a purpose. Again, purpose is that renewable source of energy that continues to drive humanity forward. Also, I think one of the things that Manu has said, which I love to kind of talk about, people are not problems to be solved. We are possibilities to be embraced. And purpose allows you to do that. Thank you all very much. See you again on the next episode of Living with Purpose. Manu, thank you very much.